Real quick before we go and get in this video, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Cody. He's the guy who makes all these spreadsheets. So this is Twitter. I'm going to put his link in the description, as well as the link to all the Spreadsheet Hub. But I want to go give him a shout out. You know, he does all this hard work. I don't think he's really any compensated any way. So just wanted to shout him out, and we'll go ahead and get right into the video. What's up, everyone? And we are back yet again with another RLCS prediction video. This time we got the second regional for EU. We got through the first regional, and KC was the winner, like I predicted originally. But we're going to go ahead and try to make another prediction of the second regional. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. First, we got NIP and Caliente. To me, it's going to be a quick 3-0. I liked how NIP just played this past weekend for the qualifiers. They looked really good. And Caliente, solid team. I don't think they're anywhere near the level of Ninjas. Next, we got Geeke and ROG. This is the roster of Joya, Oli, and Archie. I like this team quite a bit. I think they're, you know, just on the outside of a top 8 team. ROG made top 8, but I also think they kind of just made it, you know, through a little bit of a Mickey bracket. So I'm going to give it in 4 to Geeke, and they will move on to face NIP. Next, we got Vitality versus JJ Rocks. This is a sweep. I think JJ Rocks is a terrible team. In fact, they even made the regional. Crazy to me, but not a very good team, so gonna give it in a quick sweep. Next, we got Startpoint versus Redemption. Startpoint is a Chronix roster. Wasn't a huge fan of them in the last regional, but Redemption did go 0-6. So I'm gonna give the little bit of benefit of doubt to Startpoint because of that 0-6. And then next up here, we'll go into upper semifinals. We got NIP versus Geeke. It's a tough one. I do like NIP more right now than I do Geeke. I haven't been too impressed with the form of Geeke. They really got slaughtered by NIP last time they played, last regional, in the top 8 match. So not a huge fan of the form Geeke's in. I'll give them a game, but right now NIP just looks to be the much better team. And then down here, Vitality versus Startpoint. I've spoken my words about Vitality in my my post-regional power rankings, and I think they're a really good team. I still think they're the second best team in the world, even though they did get dismantled by KC. But I'll give Startpoint a game, but really there is going to be no like threat here. Vitality should win pretty comfortably. And then last, we got Ninjas versus Vitality. They did play last regional in the groups, and Vitality won 3-0. I'll make it a little bit closer. NIP, I think, is going to bounce back a bit this regional, and they'll get 2 games off Vitality, just not enough to take the win. Next, we'll go and move down here into the lower bracket. Next to Caliente versus ROG. I do believe they played last regional, and I think it was ROG that won in 5, but I'm going to give it to Caliente this time around in 5. I like Caliente's form. I think they're a good team. I think they're quite a bit better than, a lot of these other like lower level teams. Like I said, I think ROG, kind of just benefited from a pretty easy like run, but this time around I think Caliente is going to take the win, and ROG will be going out dead last. And then we got JJ Rocks for Redemption. Don't even care. Don't even need to think about this. Like I said, I think JJ Rocks is a terrible team. The fact they made a regional is just mind blowing. This is a quick sweep. They'll be going out 0-6. No thought at all into that one. And next we got Startpoint versus Caliente, and it's tough because I haven't been a huge fan of the form of Startpoint, but I do think just on paper, with a Chronic, I think a Chronic simply just elevates this roster to a good enough spot. Not a great spot, but a good enough spot, and it'll be enough, in my opinion, to get themselves to the top 8 spot in the lower bracket. And then next we got Geeke Redemption. I don't really think this is going to be close. I think Geeke will take them out quickly, and once again also move into a top 8 spot where they will make quick work of Startpoint in a 3-0 sweep and put themselves in the top 8 through the lower bracket, where they'll await the winner of the other, or some teams from the other side. We'll go ahead and move over there now. Starting off over here, we got Decatos versus Nomster. Now, I don't really know who this team... Okay, this is Shark, Rebmob, and Jelly. I have never heard of Shark or Jelly. I do know Rebmob. He's like an alrightish 2s player in EU. So this is going to be a quick 3-0 in my opinion. I haven't been a huge fan of Dig's performance, but the fact is, they're quite a bit better than Red Mob his team, so I'll give him a quick 3-0. And then we got a Sin versus Save the Game, and now Sin actually looked really good in the Swiss stage, going 3-1. And they did sweep Start Point even. They were looking pretty good. But so was Save the Game. Save the Game also went 3-1, and they even took down 100%, who, you know, made top 4 last. So this is gonna be tough. I am gonna give it to Save the Game on the basis of they have, you know, players that are, in my opinion, more like, you know, established. They have, you know, Astral and Extra compared to Ascend, who, you know, is a lot of younger players like Nico, who, by the way, huge fan of Nico's gameplay. I'm really, you know, kind of interested in how Nico does, because he's kind of been like on the rise recently. He's, I think, just hit top 10 in 2s, and he's been looking really good. So keep an eye out for Nico as one of the you know, up and comers in EU. I've liked his game recently. But next we got Carmine versus Fast Forward. Now this is the team with Mike Boy, who was on Sull last season, which is the team that beat KC I think 3 or 4 times last season. I think it was 4. No, it was 3 times. They beat KC 3 times last season. Of course, you know, it's not the same roster specifically, and this is a different KC in my opinion, and they will make this very quick and easy. And then next we got Gentlemates versus 100%, and now I've kind of talked about how I really don't like Gentlemates. I don't like the form they're in. I don't think they look good. But 100%, you know, even with making top 4 and looking really good last regional, I didn't like how they looked this past weekend. They were really, you know, kind of on the edge. I think they were a game away from missing the regional completely. Yeah, they were. They went 3-2 in their 5th round of Swiss. So really close to not even making the regional. So I'm going to give it the Gentlemates in 5, but, you know, not exactly impressed with the form of either of these teams going into this event. But we'll go ahead and, you know, give them the win for now. We'll see if they can do any better afterwards. Next, we got Dig versus Save the Game. I like Save the Game, but I don't think they're as good as Dig. Dig's a good team. They're not a great team, but they're a good team. They're, you know, top 6 level team, and honestly, this might be the most Mickey freaking run I've ever seen to make top 6. Like an idiot. That's just what, you know, that's what Mr. Bruno Buchholz, you know, says. If you aren't aware of the Buchholz score for Swiss now, it's a strength of schedule rating, and unfortunately, it leads to pretty lopsided brackets like this side, and, you know, having teams like Dig who kind of just like weren't all that great in Swiss, just, you know, get a crazy easy run like that. So it is what it is. We got to, you know, can only play the bracket they're handed, and luckily for them, it's not too hard of one, so they will make top 6 pretty easily, in my opinion. And then next we got KC Gentlemates. Quick sweep. KC looks on another world. Gentlemates, not so much. Not very big fan of Gentlemates. They're slowly just tumbling down in my power rankings right now. You know, every time I watch them play, I'm less and less impressed. Honestly, they're getting to I'm not even sure they're going to be a major team at this point with how, like, mediocre they've looked. So yeah, I'm a little concerned, but for now I will give them, you know, at least looks like a pretty easy run to top 8 down through the lower bracket. But gotta go back up here to Dig versus KC. Once again, I think KC just looks unbeatable at the moment. I'll give Dig a game. I give him a whole 1 game, but right now KC just looks straight up unbeatable, and I don't think they're gonna have too much of a challenge getting into upper bracket and probably find themselves in grand finals once again. Down here we got Nomster versus Ascend. Like I said, I talked about I like this team. I like this Ascend team because of Nico. I like him. I like Nico a lot. He's really, you know, hit my radar as an up and comer. I think he's gonna be a good player. So I like Ascend to make, you know, top 12, not too terrible. And 100% versus Forward, I'm gonna give 100% this win as they, you know, claw their way into trying to make the major. Next, we got Gentlemates and Ascend, and unfortunately, the run for my favorite new EU player, not really, but one of my, the new up-and-comers for EU, Ascend, is going down to Gentlemates. Gentlemates are just too good, unfortunately. As much as I like this roster and I like, you know, their potential, Gentlemates are still, you know, they still have Seiko, they still have Juice, they still have Redosa. They're still just a good team. Not a great team, they're a good team still, though. And then next, we got 100% versus Save the Game. this is tough because they did play and 100 safe game did win, but I'm gonna give it the 100% this time around. I think 100% are gonna, you know, with the fact that they're major, you know, they have a good chance of making the major if they just get a good, you know, little run through the regional. They could really, you know, put themselves in a position to make the major next in the third final regional. So I think, you know, with that kind of thought on their mind, they're going to be like, all right, we got to lock in. And, you know, this is a must win. You know, maybe you could say, oh, the added pressure is the reason they lose. But I think that pressure is going to be the reason they win. I think it's going to, you know, force them to focus a little bit more and, you know, clutch up. And I think they're going to do that. But unfortunately, going to run the Digital Mates and they're going to lose. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and look at our top 8. This is what we're working with. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Starting with the upper bracket, we got Vitality, Dignitas. We actually didn't get to see them in a best of 7 last week because they lost to 100%. So we didn't get to see that, but we're gonna see it this time. And Vitality is going to get a 4-1 win, in my opinion. I don't think they'll get too much trouble with that. Just weren't. I guess I just don't think Dig is on the same level as the top 2 teams. I really don't think anybody's on the same level as these top 2 teams. Although I will give NIP 2 games off of KC. I think NIP is slowly closing the gap. I wasn't impressed in the first regional, but I did watch them this past weekend in the qualifier, and they did play Gentlemates, and they looked just straight up on another level compared to Gentlemates. I'm not sure if they play anyone else really worth anything. That was about it, but they did look a level above Gentlemates, and you know, so I think they're starting to close the gap. And I think 2 games is kind of an accurate depiction of, you know, the gap getting closed, but that's about it to me. So let's go ahead and give them, you know, but at the end of the day, KC's KC, so they're going to go ahead and get the win and move on to a top 4 spot. Next down here, we got EK versus 100%, and this is tough. 100% need this win if they want to put themselves in a position to make the major, especially with Gentlemates and Dignitas right on the tail of them. But right now, I think DK is just a better roster, the more experienced roster, and they're gonna get the win over 100% and, you know, try to claw their way back into the major race as well. But fortunate for this 100% team, if they just get this, you know, top 6, they'd be looking really good to stay just right above Gentlemates. But fortunately, with a top 8 finish, they'll put themselves at a slight setback, especially because I have Gentlemates beating Start Point. Fortunately, Start Point's just the worst team in the top 8 in my opinion. So they got a, you know, a bit of a fortunate run, you know, not having to face an actually top tier team in this top 8 match. So shouldn't be too much of a trouble for Gentlemates. But next we got Dig versus Geek, and this is where I think Geek's run ends. Unfortunately, I think Dig will put themselves in top 4, put themselves in a good position to make the major as well. It'll be close though. I think DK's, you know, right on the tail of Dignitas. I think they're both around the same level, but I like Dig just a little bit more at this point in time. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it to them. We'll just have to see if you know, we can get a stat like Archie, and it's really not been Archie, it's really been Joyo and Oli, if they can step up and, you know, push DK to like a little bit of a higher level. For now, I've just liked the form of Dig more, but we'll see how they do. But for now, I got Dig as a top 4 team in this regional. And then this one shouldn't be a problem. I know that, you know, NIP went in them 2 played in a best of 7 last regional, I mean, and, you know, it was close. NIP had to kind of claw back into that series, but I think NIP is, you know, starting to level up a little bit while Gentlemates are kind of starting to fall farther down. And I think it's gonna, you know, the gap between those 2 teams is gonna start to show in this matchup right here. So Gentlemate's going to get sent home, and they will go out 2 top 6s. So they will be behind Dig and tied with 100% in points. We can actually, I'll show the points after this regional is over. But yeah, they'll be just on the outside of the major going into the final regional. So we'll have to, you know, see if they can bounce back. But for now, they're not looking too hot, and I think NIP is just going to get that win. Finally, we head into the top 4 matches, and we got Dig versus AC, which I did give, you know, Dig a game up here, and I'm gonna give them one game again down here. I just don't really like the I just don't think Dig is quite as good as KC. Well, clearly, because I think KC's the best team in the world. Kind of repeating myself a little bit with that one. KC, just best team in the world. I really don't see them floundering at this point. Like, it's gonna take a lot for me to not pick them to win every single series. You know, a lot of people are like, man, let's see some upsets. Let's see some, you know, let's see something different. Don't be boring. I just can't. I can't when there's a team like KC who's just so much better than every other team right now. I just can't pick anyone else at this moment. So until I see them kind of, you know, stumble, I'm gonna pick KC to win basically everything. So might make this a little bit more boring once we get to this final grand finals, but for now, KC making it back for their second straight. And then we have Vitality, NIP. I had them going to 5 up here, and I think we'll see, you know, NIP take 2 games off of it, Vitality again, but Vitality right now are just looking to be in another form, you know, another just like I said, I think it's a top 2, and there's a big gap between them. NIP, they're working hard to close it, but they're just not there yet. Vitality is just right now at the moment way better, and we're gonna see the grand final once again going KC's way, and I think it's going to get a little closer. I think we're going to get some game 7 action. Vitality is going to close the gap ever so slightly, but still KC is the best team in the world. They are going to remain the best team in the world for as far as I can see. I don't see them, you know, floundering the same way that we saw KC last season. I think the inconsistency kind of is going to go out the window when you have a player like Drowley now as your kind of your main focal point. So I don't see KC, you know, falling off the pedestal. For now, they're going to be my regional champions. I'm going to pick them to win every series. I know it's boring, but they're just too good. This is what the points are looking like now at this point in the season. KC, 30 points. They've actually already clinched a major at this point, I believe. Yeah, they've already clinched a major because Genomics can only get 15, so they have already clinched a major. Vitality is close to clinching the major at this point. NIP, yeah, still a bit more work to do if they want to get into that clinching spot. And then Dig has a 2-point lead over Genomics and 100%, so all they have to do is just outplay, even just tie them. As long as they do not get outplaced by either of these teams, they will be a major team. So that's what we're looking at going into the 3rd regional based off my predictions. We'll have to see, you know, what actually happens. By the way, this weekend, watch party all 3 days on my YouTube channel, on my Twitch channel. Link will be in the description to my Twitch if you do want to watch there. If not, just subscribe and click the notification bell here on YouTube if you want to watch party with me. I'll probably have some people in the call with me as well during the day. It's gonna be a lot of fun, you know, always is. I always enjoy watching RLCS. I always have a great time, you know. Anyone who comes chats, great, a lot of fun. So make sure to come stop by and watch if you would like to catch up on some RLCS. But anyways, that's gonna be it for this video, and I will see you all again for next week's predictions. NA, back to my favorite region. But that'll be it for today. I'll see y'all next time.